channel. If you're new here, my name is Emily. I have a just turned 2-year-old daughter called Violet, and in about 8 weeks we'll be welcoming baby number 2 to this crazy house. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about toy storage and take you through our new setup. If you've seen my Grimm's video, you know that we have kind of a extravagant toy stash. Some beautiful items that we've been collecting for the last 2 years, and even though I have made a pledge not to buy any toys this year, I know, drastic, we still needed a more effective storage system than what we had going on. Prior to this makeover, the majority of the toys were stored in our bedroom. We had some in our wardrobe, including my husband's side, which for some reason he wasn't overly thrilled with, and then the big flat block sets from Grimm's were actually under our bed, which, given that I vacuum under there maybe once a year, was not ideal either. We also had some items stored in Violet's room, which down the track will be shared with this baby. We had the big Grimm's large stack pyramid, kinetic tiles and learn and grow tiles were in the wardrobe, but I didn't want toys stored in the kids' room for a number of reasons. I really want that room to be more of a calm space. And also, with 2 children sharing that room and sharing that wardrobe, there's just not the space to fill it up with toys. Add to that the third area of our house that we already use to store toys, which is our outdoor storage room. It's just this weird little lean-to room that's tacked onto the back of our very small house. And I had used some of the shelving in that room to store sensory play items and all of the art and craft materials, as well as our large items like our piccolo triangle and any other kind of stuff that's rotated in and out, including some outdoor toys. So with all that in mind, I really wanted to be able to have all of our toy stuff, art stuff, craft stuff, movement stuff in one spot. It makes it much easier for me to do toy rotations, particularly if they're not in the kids' room and I can do it while they're sleeping, because if we do it while Violet's awake, it just becomes a bit of a free-for-all. And not to mention that my husband wanted his cupboard back. With those requirements in mind, and being very keen to get this organised before this baby arrives, I decided that the outdoor room was going to become where all the toys stuff was stored. And then came the challenge of trying to find shelving or cupboards to fit. The cupboards that I needed would have to be at least 45 centimetres deep to fit the Grimm's block sets. But the way the door works in that room requires that the cupboards couldn't be any deeper than 50 centimetres. And they also had to be able to have shelves that could be added, because you need to make the most of the space. So a lot of the ones I looked at came with, say, 3 or 4 shelves, or maybe 1 and a hanging rail, which is useless, and you couldn't add shelves to them. My sister and I trolled around IKEA, and it seemed eventually that the only one that was going to fit was the IKEA Stuva. I'll put a picture up here, and went onto the website, it's on sale, great, tried to order it. The only IKEA in our state didn't have any doors. So you could buy frames and shelves, but no doors. But after a few weeks of hunting and gathering, I finally ended up with 3 sets of these wardrobes from Facebook Marketplace from a couple of different people. We've got them together and we've filled them up. So with that said, I'm going to take you on a tour of our new and revised toy storage area. Before I show you the storage space, I'm just going to give you a bit of a walkthrough of what we've got on rotation this week, so that you can see what needs to fit in that space, as well as what's already out there. So the Move Baby cube stays in here. It usually lives on the far side of the couch, and we put something on top of it and use it as a coffee table, which is helpful. We've got the other pieces, the ramp and the triangle, out right now. We've got quite a bit out at the moment because we did go back into lockdown this week, so you know, trying to keep busy with a 2-year-old. Speak of the devil. Over on our toy shelf, or our tortoise, as Violet calls it, our daily rhythm chart from Treasures from Jennifer, pen for the chameleon reader, Grimm's rainbow, and a couple of pieces from the weather set just to signify summer, a plant, yes that is real, our tall musical marble tree. This is scrap hat rings and just a box to post them in, just trying to work on tongue use. A few little board books all about trucks and trains at the moment. A name puzzle What does that say? Oh, vote for Violet. It does. And this is the Plan Toys Doctor's set that she got for her birthday. I've just taken it out of the little bag and put it in the bowl to make it a bit more inviting. Magnetic tiles, a mix of kinetics and learn and grow. We have been building with those multiple times a day at the moment. A selection of animals. The theme for these ones out were the characters from The Very Cranky Bear, which is a favourite book. You don't want to give him a bath? Yeah, he can go in the bath with you tonight. Tonight. And you'll give him a wash. And then just some large Grimm's balls for the marble tower. Okay, before we head in here, I just want to say keep your aesthetic expectations low, because no matter what we do in this room, there's no way to make it look good. It's not really part of the house, and so I'm not that fussed by how it looks. It just has to be functional. Okay, so heading in, we have the new cupboards lined up along this wall. They're all joined together at the top with a bracket and then bolted to the wall just to stop them tipping over. Thank you to my husband again. Before I show you what's inside, up the top we have storage for the wobble board, that's the pounder ball tower, and just an extra toy basket. The big marble tree that's currently inside can go up there as well. Over here we have been stacking our larger pieces, so the Move Baby ladder is currently there and the easel, but the pickler triangle and the ramp can also stack against that wall. Over here, this is a waterproof play mat that we get out for anything messy that we're doing inside. Violet's balance black and helmet hang up there. This was already set up for kids stuff out here. This is how I store all our art and sensory stuff. These are just cereal containers, and this has worked great. It's really easy to take care of, and these are just big tubs here that I can grab a whole tub and bring it inside if we're doing something like Play-Doh or painting and I need to get the stuff that I need. It's made it a lot simpler. Giant Tonka truck. Her walker from when she was a baby. She likes to play with the shapes on that. And then our IKEA Flissat table with the stools that comes inside if we're doing like rice or beans or anything there. But while it's out here, it's just got the jar of cat biscuits on it, so that's easily accessible. And then hanging on the back of the door, this play tray is another option for sensory play inside. I'll often put out the waterproof mat, which is really nudie, and this with water and soap on top of it, and she'll bath her animals or her dolls or whatever. Okay, I can't quite get all of the cupboards in the frame at once, but this is an overview of the toy storage. Okay, so over here I have luxury of luxuries and an empty shelf. I'm sure that won't last. Graphic mandalas, trays for setting up Montessori activities. These are sort of collections of smaller items. This is balls, but it needs a new label. Some Grimm's and Glückskäfer building items. Some of our Grappat. I do have a pros and cons of Grappat video coming. Well, I haven't filmed it yet, but that is in the works. This is pretend play, and I'm imagining that in the future we'll have things like dress ups in here as well. Different boxes of blocks, the Grimm's Geo blocks, Contour stem blocks, and the Sun blocks. Thank you. Madam is not usually allowed in here, so she's kind of having a free-for-all. Building pieces, all the Grimm's. These are loose parts for the main part, things like Grappat and some wall balls. Wow. Pom-poms, things that we use for lots of different activities, and some of the smaller Grimm's stacking pieces. These are my bowls and stacking items, anything that's used for a shelf activity or shelf display in these drawers. Drawers would probably not have been my first choice, but as I got the cupboard second hand, that's how it worked out. Middle cupboard, this is Treasures from Jennifer, which are a lot of kind of educational things. Geo board, hundreds board, and the tracing boards, which we don't use yet, but we will. The coins for the calendars that I showed you inside, so cute. This shelf I've intentionally left quite a bit of space because puzzles and games are things that do get, I guess, grown out of. I won't need to buy any this year, and when I do, my mum has kept a lot of our sort of Ravensburger puzzles and such, which is going to be very helpful. And then in here, flashcards, which get used for matching activities, and those touch and feel ones are just a favourite. This shelf is for stuff for the baby. These are, I guess, lots of different teethers and rattles and stuff. I will do, oh, sorry, that went out of focus there. These are your more, I guess, normal baby toys, a lot of high contrast, some rattles and teethers. And then these are some of the early Montessori activities. I will do a video on baby toys and early Montessori activities. Our wooden puzzles, mostly Q toys, Grimm's Sparkling Orient, and a couple of other different ones in there. The block sets, which inspired this whole makeover. Somebody's having a hard time with not being able to rip into this toy shelf right now. The top ones still have their plastic on, but I'm really glad to have them somewhere they fit. Wow. Yeah, I think so too. Down here, musical instruments, and down here, the animals. We love the animals. Gonna close those cupboards. And the final cupboard, up the top, play crockery, including the scales. Play food, all of the food we have is Urzi, which we get at Oscar's Wooden Ark. This is a light box that we made to fit into the Flissat table, so it's got LED lights inside that tub, and there's a piece of frosted glass that we use to replace the tabletop pieces. Fine motor activities on these two shelves. This one's more traditional Montessori stuff, and this one is lots of, you know, Grimm's, shape sorters, the beloved lockbox. This is Small World. Most of this is from Let Them Play Toys or Raduga Grez. She's not really into it yet. I would imagine that will develop over the next year to 2 years. We have got the Magic Wood Treehouse, the small one. I'm really glad this comes apart because it would be painful to store otherwise. And this is kind of, the shelf is not great. It's jammed in. Here we go, Violet. I meant to get these out for her. With the vehicles. There you go, fire truck. No. Oh, okay. Ambulance. Magnetic tiles will live in here, but most of them are inside. Learn and Grow Ball Run. We're using that a lot at the moment. And finally, Grimm's Giant Blocks and Way to Play Roads. This is 2 sets. I think that's a total of 40 pieces. Again, not something we've used a lot yet, just because we're in probably more of a destructive stage than we are a imaginative stage, but something that will come. And this is known as Mummy's Toy Shelf. So Madam is not allowed to help herself, and I will get some locks for the cupboard. She's pretty good, but I can see that sometimes the temptation would be too great. What have you got? You found a fire truck. Is that an ambulance? Okay, those ones can come inside. Thank you so much for coming along with me on my little tour. This is yet another video in our toy series, and if you have any ideas or requests of things that you would like to see more, whether it's toy rotation, whether it's more of the different brands that we've got, please leave a comment below, ask me a question, send me a DM on Instagram. All those things are great. I love to hear your feedback. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you picked up something useful, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye. Thanks so much for watching. Please click the thumbs up and subscribe for more videos on minimalism, organisation and family life. See you next time.